What a game that is going to be. We will get to Szoboszlai's extraordinary free kick, the 2 turnaround goals, the incredible save from Donnarumma and the goal that never was, and the red card. That is all to come with us here. But first, what does it all mean? Roy, what does it mean?
Huge result. Big lift for City. Obviously, we know the record here is not great. To be a goal down. Manager Pep spoke before the game, when you come to Anfield, it's obviously you need to show personality and character, and this City team showed that, particularly in the second half. Yeah, they were very good in terms of football, in terms of the first half, and we've been critical of this team over the last 18 months because of the standard City have set, and this team hasn't really reached it, but it did today in the second half to show that desire, quality. The first goal was good. They got a gift to the second goal, obviously, and it is more than 3 points today. I think psychologically a big lift and a bit of a hammer blow for Arsenal, even though it's still a nice little lead. But from to see Arsenal going a goal down, see City going a goal down, you think it's a long way back with their record. So to get to 3 points, huge.
You put your flag in the sand right at the start of the day, Micah, didn't you?
Yeah, what did I say, Dave?
You said win or bust, effectively.
Yeah, and I think them winning was massive. Like Roy said, I think it's more than 3 points. I think the thing watching City today, we know there's going to be good in the first half. Could they cope with the second half? Yes, some might say they got a bit of luck. Liverpool had a load of chances, but to finish the game with a win, it's humongous.
Did you think they were beaten when Szoboszlai scored?
I was nervous because you was thinking Szoboszlai has done it against Arsenal. He's got loads of free kicks this year. Have City got the legs to get and the capacity to get back in the game? That's what I was thinking. And Haaland, he'd be celebrating tonight. He didn't have his best game, but it was just about moments in the game. He gets the assist for Dana and then takes a penalty at the end. It's just massive for City.
How big is that momentum shift, Daniel, do you think?
It's key. We talked about it before, about the momentum, the confidence that it's going to give the team, and now the belief, that they are capable. I think they've had wobbles, they've not performed to their level throughout the course of the season, but we're still seeing signs that they are capable of going all the way. And I think today is probably the biggest moment for them of the whole season, where it sort of feels like, guys, we still can do this. We've still got it in us. And I think as a player, when you go through those moments, it does test your character. When you go 1-0 down, the type of goal it was, you think to yourself, boy, it's just not our day, man. It's just scored a worldie, bro. Like, what are we going to do? And then you go and you get your goal, and then it gives you that little booster, and then Haaland puts that in the bottom bin, and you sort of look at them, and the delight, the joy, the celebrations afterwards on the pitch, they feel great. They're leaving here knowing that, they've put a damper on Liverpool's season for Champions League, but more importantly for themselves, it's to go on and try and win the title.
Feels like a crushing blow for Liverpool, doesn't it, Jamie? How would you sum it up?
It's a bad one, yeah. Someone talking about Manchester City and what this means for the title for them. But when you're looking at the league for Liverpool, it looks like a long way to try and get Champions League positions in a top 5 position. There's a gap now between themselves that you can make up in this time. But you look at Liverpool still in 2 cup competitions that they will have to do well in to almost save the season in some ways. So it looks a long way back. But then you look at Liverpool's bench. You think a midweek away at Sunderland won't be, Szoboszlai won't be playing as well. They've got a problem at right back. I'm not sure if Gomez is back, but again, when you think about Liverpool's season, a lot of it is about just mistakes that you just cannot believe. Players of that calibre. You think of sort of Van Dijk a couple of weeks ago at Bournemouth, Alisson here today. You cannot believe a goalkeeper of that calibre makes that decision to do that.
Liverpool had taken the lead in a second half, which they'd grown into the game after City had the best of the first half, and then Szoboszlai's stunning free kick. You wondered if that might be taking Liverpool on the path to victory. First of all, we're going to have a look at the foul that led to the free kick, which is 30 plus yards out. Let's have a look at this. City weren't happy with this at the time. Was there much in that?
Soft, isn't it? He just catches in there, yeah. There's a little bit of contact there. And we know players obviously are quick to go down.
So maybe slightly fortunate to get the free kick. And then keep your eye here on Donnarumma. You can see him signalling 2 in the wall.
Yeah.
We know that what Szoboszlai is capable of. Is it because he wants to see? Bernardo Silva tries to get involved in the wall.
Yeah, but I don't see the harm in putting another 1 or 2 in. Obviously, I'm no goalkeeper expert, but he's a world-class goalkeeper. He thinks, yeah, I can see it. But Liverpool are still blocking him from seeing it, the Liverpool players.
I think by the runner, it doesn't look like he has the capability to do what he's done.
I don't know.
I think the shape of his body screams he's going the other way. He's put his foot through it and gone across the ball. I think the technique you have to have in your locker to actually execute that is more, for me, yes, you could argue the wall, but 30 plus yards out, hitting across the ball.
So what technique did you thought he was going to go with?
The way the angle he's at, you couldn't fathom that he'd do what he's done here. He's ran straight onto it. He's gone across it, and the keeper, I think, is surprised.
But I think he's got that in his locker, Daniel. I think he's got that in his locker. Look, I think he knows exactly what he's doing.
No, I know what he's doing. I know he knows what he's doing.
But you think that from the goalkeeper point,
to execute the ball, to execute the shot. You look at the foot, how he's connected with it. He's gone across it and almost dipped it a little bit. Like, I just give him credit for the technique. For me, the wall, yes, you could say that, but to execute that.
But I think with the wall, why not just have an extra one or two anyway? Because you know he's going to shoot. It's not as if there's two on it. They might try and do something. You know he's going to shoot. He's obviously got previous a few months ago a great goal against Arsenal, and I know it was a different type of free kick over the wall. But he's got that in his locker. Why just not get an extra one in there?
I'm sure on the back of the Arsenal one, there was actually talk on the back of that saying, why did Ryan need a wall? In some ways, so no, I'm not saying Roy's wrong on that one, because you think you put a decent size in there. But sometimes there's talk of, why does a keeper need a wall? But then this is a perfect example why keepers have walls, because of situations like that. You think, how's he going to score from there? But if you give someone almost not a free shot, but he's not in the wall's not really doing anything, is it?
Yeah, but if you look at the height in which it goes, if someone hit somebody, it would hit someone there, because it doesn't start rising till a little bit later, doesn't it? But I understand what you're saying there, Karen.
Gives him the option, doesn't it?
It just gives him the option. You've got to go with 3 or 4 in the wall there, definitely.
30 plus yards out, though, that's the thing.
But he can hit them. How many times have we seen him do that? We know that.
3 this season.
But you know what? There's only 2 there. I think that encourages him. That's as if like, oh, you don't think I can do it? Yeah. I think if there's 3 or 4, you go, oh right, obviously he's maybe got to try and get over the wall like he did against Arsenal. But I think you're betting against him. And I bet he's up and going, I fancy getting it. I fancy getting that whip on it. I think his technique, he knew exactly what he was doing, and he's got it. He's got previous.
I think there were a lot of people in this stadium who thought one might be enough for Liverpool here this afternoon, particularly given City's poor second half record this season so far. But Gary was saying that certain players, Bernardo Silva, Haaland, needed to do more. There they were, Mike.
Haaland didn't win enough headers in the game, but Stud, you want to talk about his movement here, the way he just drops off and then the delicate touch.
The movement was great, and I think during the game, Van Dijk won a lot of headers against him and bullied him a little bit. And I think for the first time, or one of the first times in the game, he's not on Van Dijk's side, and I'm not suggesting it's Konaté's fault. It's not. He's won a header. The reaction from Bernardo Silva to then act almost like a centre forward. Look at the timing of that run. It's almost big man, little man-esque. Yeah. As you 2 forwards and you're expecting your teammate to win the header, kind of from the defensive point of view.
I just think there's a deflection on this cross that it makes it difficult for the defender, because when you're coming towards the ball like Haaland is, that deflection, whether he read it just a bit, but there was no way Konaté could ever win the header. He couldn't get there in time, and it was just listen. I wouldn't put too much blame on Liverpool. It was just a little bit of luck. It takes a deflection. He gets the header first. Could Van Dijk see the runner? But
it was only the 4th time in the game that Haaland had won a header, and he was saying actually, while we were watching the game, that if you were in his position, he's having that real tussle with Van Dijk. Get yourself away from him.
Get away, mate. Sometimes you have to say, all right, he's getting the better of me. Let me go and have a wander over there for 5 minutes. Let me see if I can cause this guy a problem, because I do feel that psychologically he has a lot of respect for Virgil. You can see the way they're playing against each other. I think they shook hands at half time, and you're sort of thinking they have a lot of respect for each other. And I think sometimes you want to see a different picture. And he was seeing the same picture for the majority of the game, staying on Virgil's side. Whether the manager told him to do that, that's potential that he did. But he give it the team another picture, give the opposition another problem. And I think the one time he did it, he wins a header and there's a goal.
It was the only time, just had it confirmed, the only time he contested an aerial duel with Konaté in the entire game. And Jamie was saying that the deflection didn't help Konaté out at all. What about the penalty? Into stoppage time, Jamie.
Listen, you just cannot believe it. A goalkeeper of that quality makes that decision there. I mean, it's not like he's not going to be able to cross the ball. It's actually too far ahead of him. All he could probably do there is knock it out for a goal kick. Nunes really, and it's just made a crazy decision. Listen, we see goalkeepers make that mistake. And when
you're in this wide angle, sorry, Jamie, the ball is still in play when the foul is committed, which they've told us is relevant to the award of the spot kick.
It's just madness to find himself, make that decision. He doesn't make too many. Listen, what a goalkeeper he's been, but obviously it was a huge mistake.
But I think it's one of them with Jimmy, with the goalkeeper sometimes. I know he's an experienced goalkeeper. It's almost, they get bored sometimes, even in a big game. You sit to keeper something, mind your own business. That had almost nothing to do with him. He almost went looking for trouble. Crazy decision for an experienced goal. If a young goalkeeper done that, you'd be saying, all right, lack of experience or whatever, and naive. To do that,
especially when Nunes' touch is taking it away from goal as well.
Just slow himself down.
So then we had a 2.5 minute wait while there was treatment going on, while everyone in the stadium is thinking, what is going to happen here? Szoboszlai is trying to get in Haaland's ear as we didn't know if he was definitely going to take it, Daniel. You weren't sure if it was going to be Haaland's kick here or not.
Yeah, I mean, today's time you usually see someone else holding the ball for the penalty taker, so they take all the banter.
Strangely, might this have actually relaxed him because he's a friend of his, really, just having a bit of chat and a banter with.
They're having a good laugh, they're having a good joke here. He's trying to throw a little banter to him, stuff that can throw him off. But as you can see from what Haaland said in his interview and in this moment, totally locked in on what I have to do technique-wise.
What a huge moment.
Yeah, and it was driven low. Those ones when you're that tall as a goalkeeper, keeping it low, powerful, side foot, going with conviction, executed perfectly.
It's the firmness of the strike, Micah, in that moment.
This is just brilliant. I mean, Jamie's talked about Haaland, didn't think he had the greatest of game as well, but in terms of moments, and he needed to step up in the big moments. That's why he gets the big bucks. That's why he's Haaland. That's why he scores so many goals. He doesn't have to play well, and he can still get it over the line, and that's the difference.
He had to take that penalty. If he didn't take that penalty, you'd be saying one of the best strikers in the world, best finishers. Big moment for the club, big moment for him. Take responsibility, which he did.
Incredible moment for him, his first year at Anfield as well for Manchester City. But still, the drama was not done. Could Liverpool respond? Well, they could, and that's when Manchester City needed their goalkeeper, Roy.
Yeah. Listen, he's a vastly experienced, big goalkeeper. Yeah, he's made one or two mistakes, but gets maybe a slight deflection.
We had a great view on this.
Yeah,
it looked like he was destined for the top corner.
It did. And it gets a deflection. But I suppose I'm going to say that's his job, isn't it? He's a big man, he's got big arms, he's made one or two big saves as we know, but he's made one or two mistakes over the last few months, but again, huge moment. You can see by the reaction. Yeah.
Great shot. It's worth seeing again because it might well be a pivotal race when we get to the end of a pivotal moment, Jamie, when we get to the end of the season.
Well, listen, at the start of the season, I didn't think there was any way Manchester City could win the league because of the goalkeeping situation. No one wins a Premier League without an absolutely great goalkeeper. And there's no doubt, listen, he's a Champions League winner, what he's done in his career with Italy, winning the Euros. You know, they've got a goalkeeper you can win the league with. Before they signed him, there was no way City could win the league without signing someone of that calibre.
Brilliant performance at the perfect moment for Manchester City as well. But we still weren't done with the drama because then Manchester City are going on the break because Alisson has decided he's going to maybe score the equalising goal, having conceded the penalty. So there he is, the man in green. Cherki from his own half actually thinks he might have scored here. But watch the tussle between Haaland and Szoboszlai. This is amazing, wasn't it? So the officials are saying they have no choice on this. You see the foul from Szoboszlai on Haaland outside the box, but then Haaland returns the favour by pulling back Szoboszlai, which cancels out the advantage. So they say they have no choice but to go back to the first infringement, which is Szoboszlai here on Haaland going through to score. And that is denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. And it's just such a shame, isn't it? Because it was a moment that nobody really wanted.
No, but I think, referees get a lot of stake in VAR, but they've applied the law. So what they're supposed to do, we want to see another goal from Cherki, of course we do. But he's tugged him, so it is the right decision, no matter where you look at it. I mean, we want to see Cherki get that goal. I actually think Cherki could hold on a little bit more and then pass to Haaland. I think that was the initial problem. But then, Szoboszlai, is it going to be 3 games? Did you have that
I think normally our information is it's 1. Denial of a goal scoring opportunity is normally 1. So that is our information right now. So that would be the Sunderland game that Jamie was talking about midweek.
It was great. It just added to the drama at the end of it, and obviously had no effect on the result.
If I'm Cherki, I'm fuming.
But listen, I go back to it. It's a stupid decision by Szoboszlai. For me, you just let it carry on and the goal goes in and everyone, I don't think anyone's complaining, but it's absolutely daft from him because he's got time to think as well. He's running back.
But does the goalkeeper have to be up there, Jay?
This is what Haaland thought at full time as well. Why is he checking up?
Come on, run after him. Run after him. Film him. Got booed all the time. Go film him. Come on, he's there.
Why did not Cherky pass to me? Well, there you go. Mike is right, isn't it? He had a quiet game because of the impact of the battle he was having with Virgil van Dijk, but he comes up with a key assist and the winning goal.
Big game, and as we know, the top players, certainly it's just about moments. Sometimes you got a goal and an assist and they'd be satisfied because that obviously affected the game and the result and the goals involved. And I'd have Haaland's had tough times here, and he's had tough times against Van Dijk, but he stuck at it and produced magic at the end. That's all you can ask for.
Mikel Arteta's work at Arsenal is being viewed in an even brighter light after the recent coaching shakeups elsewhere. With Chelsea parting ways with Enzo Maresca and Manchester United moving on from Ruben Amorim, the contrast is hard to miss. Arsenal has kept moving forward under Arteta, giving him time through difficult stretches, and now seeing the payoff as the club pushes again in the Premier League title race. It also raises a bigger question about strategy. While Chelsea and United are changing direction again, Arteta has been in place for more than 6 years, outlasting a long list of managers across those two clubs in that span. That stability has become part of the story, and it was a major talking point on the Seeing Red podcast with Tom Canton and John Cross. Beyond reacting to Amorim's dismissal and breaking down wins over Aston Villa and Bournemouth, plus Manchester City's loss to Chelsea, the conversation kept returning to one core idea: structure. Not just who is the coach, but how much power that coach has, and whether the club is built to support a long-term project. Cross pointed to Arsenal as a rare example of patience turning into real strength. He argued that Arsenal's willingness to back Arteta through the messy early phases helped create the stable position they're in now, and that this kind of time and support investment is what can turn a club into something truly solid. Canton's response was sharp and honest. Arteta's arc, he said, has almost become a problem for other clubs, because it tempts them to keep coaches they probably shouldn't. But at the same time, it's still the best example of what can happen when you hire the right person and actually give them time. And that time wasn't smooth. The discussion highlighted how Arsenal could easily have pulled the plug early. 2 8th-place finishes, then 5th, missing out on the Champions League, and a Europa League semi-final exit to Unai Emery's Villarreal. Any of those moments could have pushed a club into panic mode. Instead, the argument is that Arsenal recognized the bigger reality. Arteta didn't have the resources to compete at the required level right away. The squad needed a rebuild. The roster needed to be refreshed. That's where the comparison to Chelsea and United becomes even more pointed. The podcast suggested that recruitment and decision-making structure are often what determine whether a coach survives. If signings don't land, results suffer. And if a coach doesn't have enough influence, or the club isn't aligned behind a clear plan, it becomes much easier for things to collapse. In other words, giving time only works if the coach is empowered to shape the team in a way that matches the vision. Cross also emphasized that Arteta's situation stood out because he pushed to be a true manager, not just a head coach. The idea is simple. Top coaches want a real say in the build, and they want the club to match what they were promised when they took the job. The discussion even pointed to how Arteta survived a low moment, like the home loss to Burnley, because the club stayed behind him. And in that period, with fan pressure affected by the COVID-era environment, Arsenal were able to hold their nerve instead of reacting emotionally. Meanwhile, the big unknowns now shift back to Chelsea and Manchester United. Who replaces Amorim? And how will the next chapter look at Chelsea? The answers may come sooner than people expect. But for Arsenal, the reality stays the same. They're stable, they're moving forward, and they're still in the title chase, while others are starting over again. And that contrast can shape how people judge every manager in the league. Because when two massive clubs hit the reset button again, it forces the same question Cross raised on the show. Is the quick switch actually fixing the problem, or just delaying the real work? The bigger takeaway from the discussion is that time isn't a magic solution by itself. It only becomes valuable when the club's structure supports the plan, and when the coach has the influence to push the squad in the direction he believes it needs to go. That's why the distinction between head coach and manager kept coming up. The podcast point is that if a coach is expected to own the results, he usually wants a meaningful say in the decisions that shape those results. And if he doesn't get that, patience alone won't save him. That's also where Arteta's early struggles get reframed. Those finishes and setbacks could have become a reason to panic. Instead, they became evidence of why alignment matters, because Arsenal chose to treat them as part of a build, not a final verdict. And once the squad was reshaped the way the club believed it needed to be, the results started to reflect that long-term approach. So the repercussions aren't just about Arsenal looking stable, it's about how stability changes your margin for error. When you don't reset every year, you're not constantly starting from zero. You're building on decisions, learning from setbacks, and keeping a clearer identity. For Chelsea and Manchester United, the immediate consequence is obvious. They're changing direction again, which means the next appointment carries even more weight. Because every new coach isn't just judged on results. He's judged on whether the club is finally giving him the structure and authority that the role demands. That's why the question at the end matters so much. Who will replace Amorim, and how will Liam Rosenior do at Chelsea? Because those answers will test the exact theme the show kept returning to. Time, support, structure, and control. And for Arsenal, it's a different kind of pressure. Stability doesn't guarantee trophies, but it does keep you in the fight longer. And right now, while others restart, Arsenal get to stay focused on what they're already doing, chasing the Premier League title.